Eddie pushed the engine as far and as fast as it could go. He put the Red Viper southbound on the fairway, which would mean he had several miles of a straight shot before he'd have to make a long wide turn on Southeast Bend. The colors became abstractions until the only thing that was real was them and the chase, the eternal dance of predator and prey unfolding on top of the trappings of modern man. Sue looked behind them with concern when she saw the black stingray keeping pace with them. Sue looked to her shadow that was small and weak through the diffusion of light. She whispered to her shadow self urgently. The dark passenger nodded. It quickly manifested in the small back seat of the Viper. In an instant, it sank into the seat and disappeared. Kane locked onto his prey with a focused determination. He had been driving fast cars ever since they were invented, so he was by no means a stranger to speeds that brushed up against death. A black spot slipped out of the Viper and moved through the empty space between vehicles. The shadow enveloped Kane for a fraction of a second before it appeared in the back seat. Kane didn't hesitate. With his right hand, he quick drew one of his 6-shooters and put a bullet in the shadow. The thing was transparent. He saw that it hit his couch, doing nothing to the shadow. Kane looked at the thing in his rear view, deciding not to waste any more ammo. The shadow made aggressive movements, exaggerated to such a degree he began to believe there wasn't much the thing could do other than distract him and give him the impression it physically could affect anything on the material world. Kane ignored the shadow completely and stayed on his quarry. The longer the chase continued, the more odds slanted towards the house. Eddie knew that if he got a little distance between the hound and himself, he may be able to slip away. But Sue couldn't just disappear at will. Most of her skills dealt with sight or shadows. She couldn't fade away completely. He didn't want to think about that. He'd rather die at her side than have to go back onto that long, dark road alone again. Eddie hit an off-ramp, deciding he couldn't risk their lives on a straightaway, seeing these two cars were about evenly matched by way of speed. "What are we doing, Eddie?" Sue asked frantically. Eddie kept as calm as he could and said nothing. The neon lights of Furlong rolled off his mirror-black glasses hectically. He wouldn't be caught, and as far as he was concerned, death himself dogged him. He weaved through the streets of Ballister Heights, which was relatively calm this time of night. The stingray was on his tail with no signs of backing off. If this chase went on too much longer, they would no doubt attract a caravan of cops. He wasn't exactly sure if that was what he wanted just yet. For all he knew, the cops were just another arm of the powers that be. "Can you see 'em?" Eddie asked Sue. The wild-haired woman responded. "I can see 'em." "Tell it to distract him when we hit that light," Eddie demanded. "I can't." "You can. If you can't think of something, maybe it can. Do it." Sue closed her eyes and placed her consciousness into her shadow self while her body went limp and she fell away in the passenger seat. When she was in the shadow, it was in charge, and she was not in control, the same as when the shadow was tethered to her and not moving independently. She watched from the hound's back seat. His stoic gaze was resolute and unflinching. She saw Eddie and her body's taillights approaching a crowded intersection. She couldn't think of a damn thing to do, but luckily her shadow did. Eddie slowed down. Kane sidled up to their stolen vehicle and pointed his gun. As soon as they were nearly parallel, Eddie poured on the speed and went through the red light. At that very moment, the shadow phased through Kane's chair, through his body, then spread itself out. Kane's eyes adjusted to the split-second obstruction. When he managed to duck his head through the darkness, oncoming traffic came screaming at him from the passenger side. He dropped his shooting irons, clutched the wheel, two-handed, tapped the brakes, and engaged in an expert J-turn. Threading the needle, he spun around, avoiding all incoming traffic, but even the slight delay gave the nomads a sizable distance between them. Eddie pumped his fist in triumph when he saw the hound spin out. He had a few seconds head start, but that may have been all he needed. When he turned the corner, he did an expert slide and drove into someone's gangway. The space was ridiculously tight, so tight that they wouldn't have been able to open the doors. He turned off all the lights and expertly killed the engine. He only needed a second to confuse his pursuer. Sue gasped in excitement when she returned to her body. Eddie clamped her mouth shut with unnatural speed. The two nomads held their collective breaths, figuratively, as the hound's lights zipped past them. They were alive as any human might be in this moment, and it was incidents like this that gave their lives meaning. Sue closed her eyes as if to enhance her other senses. His car stopped. "Shit," said Eddie. He leaned in his chair, and with 2 feet he kicked out the front windshield rather than back up to open the doors. "Come on," Eddie said, grabbing Sue's hand. The two hit the backyard of a random residence as the lights of Kane's Stingray crept towards the gangway, along with the panic sounds of murmuring humans still in the safety of their homes. The two slipped into the night, running against the light and the sound. They avoided all life. They found themselves in a shed that was half open in someone's garage. They kissed one another as if this were their last night together. "We can't stay here. They have to be crawling out there by now," said Sue. Eddie ducked his head out of the shed and cautiously looked over the skyline. "That water tower is there," he said. "I like that guy, but I don't think we should sleep anywhere near him. He still isn't us," Sue said. Eddie nodded. "I know, but we need some place to lay low. Not many hours till dawn. Besides, if he crosses us, we can just kill him," Eddie said confidently.